when it comes to negotiation, some people are actually very good at it, and some people, are on more of a learning curve. Abhishek, you've spoken to us in the past about how you need to look at a negotiation. And the key takeaway for me from that was it needs to be a win-win for all sides. I want to club that with one of the questions that's come in from a tap-in member asking, what is the role of influence in that? And how do you look at this when you're looking at the space we're talking about?
The role of influence. So it depends on how you define influence, right? What is influence in that particular discussion? In most cases, you derive influence from a few key things, right? Like information, being prepared, because it's not enough to be known or be influential in that sense. It's very important, because how do you wield influence? If you have enough information, if you have enough data, if you come prepared, that's enough, right? That's a good start. So that's how I would put it. I don't think influence is key, because when you're sitting down for a negotiation, in most cases, unless of course the tables are turned, I mean, one side has a huge advantage, then of course it doesn't matter. But in most cases, in most situations where you have to negotiate, both sides have some give and takes. They have something to give, and they want something in return, right? And it's about, you assume that the other side is also prepared, right? You're not doing this in isolation. You need to know what everyone wants around the table, and use that.
Yes, absolutely. Sairee, would you agree in terms of when you're looking at negotiations? And of course, there are different ways, we'll come to the individual in a company setup, but when you're looking at it from a startup point of view, what would you say in terms of negotiation?
Yeah. I think the best negotiations are actually very simple, because everybody's clear on what they want out of it, and uh, they're a win-win-win. So I think it's again a little bit of a tap dance of everybody's willing to give something in return for something. So in some ways, the best negotiations are where everybody walks home thinking that they got something out of it, even though they had to put something back in the pool. And The other thing about negotiations, I feel, is that just the sentiment around negotiations matters a lot. And part of negotiating is to make sure that sentiment stays positive, or it stays high energy. Moment it starts to drop, or it starts to feel like we're prisoners of this situation, the entire piece that we are trying to win, or anything that we are trying to get out of that conversation, completely changes. So it has to remain uh, something that all parties can share or build a common view of. So whether it is long term vision of a transaction, whether it is a commercial outcome in the short term, I
Yeah.
think shared vision with a sense of positivity, to me, is a really nice way to win negotiations.